Alright, so I didn't have Sawako becoming insanely sympathetic on my bingo card and crying over her backstory, but now that I say that, why in the hell wasn't it on my bingo card? After this chapter, I feel like I've gained a grasp on Sawako's character, and that's just my codename for her, so it's not canon. We'll figure that out later. But don't tell anyone, by the way, okay? It's our secret. But yeah, let's go ahead and break down this chapter and discuss. Also, real quick, thank you guys and gals for getting the last video to nearly 9,000 views and just about 300 likes. I hope my content has been good for everyone and you've all enjoyed it. Thank you as well for the amazing and positive feedback that is hard to come by on the internet in 2024, so let's keep it up. So yeah, Sawako is a 100% part of the crew by the end of this arc, guys. We see her walking through the halls of her school, and she is quite literally invisible to everyone. People are rudely bumping into her, she has to squeeze her way past people. It's a very depressing reality and a reminder of how cruel kids and human beings can be in society at large. And I immediately sympathized with her, and by the second panel, I knew she would be getting a flashback of some sort or some sad backstory. And in class, when all she is trying to do is go sit down at her desk and do what is expected of her, she finds a group of girls at her seat chatting up a storm. And I love the first panel because it shows how small and meek Sawako is. And if you didn't know, she's in the upper right and barely visible, which is a good way to describe her existence in the world at her school. Barely visible. Poor girl, though, she musters up the strength, nervous with beads of sweat forming on her neck as she can barely get out the words to tell them that's her seat. And what she gets in return is these girls laughing at her. This cruelty on fine display as they put her down for her meek voice, hard to watch. Even calling her a ghost, which does sort of make me feel bad about calling her Sawako, as I guarantee she's been called that before by bullies. So far though, Tatsu is painting a very depressing reality for our suspicious woman. But did you notice what I noticed? Comment below if you think you noticed and what I did, and I'll tell you later in the video. Arriving home, it's dark out, so she got home late, which is subtle, but suggests that she probably also feels abandoned too. One of the worst feelings in the world as a kid, obviously, is to be forgotten and arrive home from school late as an afterthought. As my cat is meowing in the background, let's see what she wants. All right, I think she was just reacting to me talking, but this was the point that drove me to simply fall in love with this character. From this point, I was hooked because if the world itself doesn't care about the suspicious woman, then god damn it, I will. Also, HE double hockey sticks, even her family even has forgotten about her in totality, as the mother fawns over her younger sister, Alice, over winning the first prize once more. And to her younger sister, this is not big. She's not even grateful for all that she has achieved because she's so used to it. And all the while, suspicious woman is left out of the family, isolated further. They didn't even wait for her to get home. After all of them are in their home clothes. Think about that, being forgotten by your own family. And they also have the audacity to not even notice when she walks through the door. What is wrong with them? It's here that I wished, I could just go through the screen on my phone and tell her everything would be all right or something. Like, it is so unfair, and she doesn't realize that none of this, any of this is her fault because her story only gets darker from here. I don't know. I had these feelings bubbling up while I was reading it, to be honest. Then the gut punch as she's walking up the stairs. Her parents say that Alice is nothing at all like her big sister, and the daughter chimes in to not even mention in the same breath, quote, that loser, as my cat continues to meow in the background. I think she's just really talkative today, so if you hear any meows, it's my cat. Her name's Gabby, by the way. But bro, I gotta say, I was fuming when I heard that. That's her sister, her family. It's so cruel. And, I can understand spats and arguments. I can even understand not talking to a relative for a long time to figure things out. But, sometimes that happens. But this is just unfair. They're the same as those kids in school. Childish bullies, and they're aiming directly at their own flesh and blood. Insane. So she slips into her room, heads downstairs as the words echo into her only place of sanctuary. Hearing the words of what they truly think about her, a talentless woman that only did anything good when she was a child, which was the only time anyone even cared for her anyways. And at this point, honestly, I just wanted Luffy to show up and Gumu fuck him up, just anything. But plopping down on her bed with sadness, she looks up to see something incredible. a display case of all of her accomplishments. From the looks of it, she was actually a very talented musician and likely still is, so maybe that's why I like her so much. I can play music too, you know, guitar, bass, mandolin, piano, drums, you know, I play, all right. But we get even more details on who exactly she is. She's a piano prodigy, which explains probably why her parents hate her so much. Her parents were professional pianists, and this is where we learn of her name too, Koki Yukishiro. And looking at the display, she is transported back to when she was a child as we see how far she's fallen. She truly had style back then, but now she's so depressed and rejected by society that she's now used her hair to cover up her face. And my guess is the sudden change in her appearance means that she hates her face and her body. She wants nothing more than to hide her identity, as her identity is tied to abject failure in her eyes and, well, society. Which is ironic because society has noticed how much of a prodigy she truly is. Makes it even more tragic when you realize that she likely could have been helped out of this situation, but probably wasn't. She was just ignored. Transported back as a kid, she relives her glory days of playing in front of a theater of people. All eyes on her as she goes to play her piano. She was special back then, and constantly she is replaying the tape to figure out where it all went wrong. Where did she go wrong? And she suffers in silence when she tries her absolute best. And God, think about that, man. This isn't a girl who just gave up. She has tried at every point to stand out, to do the right thing, and was simply met with rejection at every point. So she's quite literally driving herself mad because she has no tools to get herself through this. So where does she turn to? Well, the only place she can get attention. Social media, the phone screen where she can curate her own echo chamber that reinforces herself through toxicity. And what does she choose to do? Well, it's sad to say, but she chooses to use her body. And I don't know about you guys, but there was something about that mole on her chest that pushed it over the edge for me. It's small, but it shows that symbolically, I think she only knows how to display herself in this way to get attention. She's showing all of her imperfections through the action of taking these exposed pictures of herself. Everyone can see that, even the flaws on her skin. Think about that. Koki isn't doing this to celebrate a positive body image either. She's doing this to escape and is desperate. And as we know, desperation is blood in the water for the sharks. The next day at school, a man shows her the image of her chest and blackmails her. And if she doesn't do something, they will tell her parents. And think about what that means when they already hate her guts as much as they do. Yeah, so of course she's gonna play along. She feels that she absolutely has to. And all of this, I hate to admit this, but seeing how miserable she is, it just made me cry a little bit for her. When you think about how isolated she must feel, how unwanted she is by everyone, how can you not cry over a story as sad as this? I think many of us in our lives feel rejected and isolated today. And I think that's why I feel so sad for Koki. She has it rough, just like all of us. And she represents a lot of those pressures that we go through. The angst really is palpable with Koki. In class, the gang is now trying to find Koki, but nobody knows about her because, well, she's invisible to everyone, forgotten. But Momo keeps pointing out that nobody can see her, which to me means that she may have turned into a fairy or something close to that. I mean, if they couldn't see the other fairy and only Momo could, this must mean that to everyone else, she ironically, like Koki, is invisible too. And I think this is going to be a key in likely getting Koki to open up to the group. Momo is invisible just like her, and thus she will find someone that she relates to. And this goes for Okarun too, who was also bullied and invisible in class. But Koki walks into class right on cue as they chase after her when she is spotted and then runs away. They pursue her through the halls while Gigi, what is he doing? What is he smoking? Anyways, Sanjime quickly reminds them to walk, not run, so they decide to walk with Vamola holding onto Okarun's shoulders. She's so cute. And Gigi is still, I don't know, he's smoking something good, but Koki eventually runs into the home ed room where she swiftly disappears without a trace. Say hello to everyone on the internet. Come on. Her name is Gabby, by the way, not after the AOT character. I always have to say that. All right, Gabby, can you say something to the audience? Can you tell them something? All right, she's not saying anything, so I'm just gonna continue the video while holding my kitty. Alright y'all, this chapter was spectacular and got me massively invested in not just the story of the arc even more, but Koki herself. I think she's an amazing character that serves as a commentary on social media and how young people, to stand out, are often pressured into doing things like posting pictures of themselves, especially young women. But I also think that this guy has no relation to Sanjome, so I don't think he's Count Saint Germain. I mean, I think it is the same man that was in the locker, but I don't think that's Count Saint Germain either. The reason is Count Saint Germain has an ability where you basically forget him after you meet him. So very clearly, I know it's not confirmed or denied with this chapter, so I know that, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but my gut says it's not Count Saint Germain and likely someone else who could just be a normal teacher too. In other words, I don't know, man, but I asked if you guys spotted the detail I mentioned earlier, and not once did anyone say Koki's name in this chapter, not her classmates nor her friends. The only way you can figure out her name is by reading those awards she received. I thought that was such a depressingly sober detail, not even her parents dared to speak her name. Sad, man. And I gotta admit, this chapter made me cry too. I don't know, I just felt so bad for her. If you haven't, use the code CTactics to get 10% off GamerSupps site-wide. So if you want some Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Energy, Anime Girl Thighs, or Kaho's Guilty Pleasure, then use my code. It'll support me directly as this channel is not monetized. And if you made it to this point in the video, comment the emoji banana. Thank you so much for your support, everyone. I love you.